All audiences inside and outside of the Night of Light arena seemed to be in a petrified state. Was this a battle between two Atlanteans? Saruman Snake was on the verge of elimination. Once again, Wang Zheng wielded his killer move, using the opponent's move against himself. It was similar to using the Phantom King to defeat Atlantis in IG. This time, he had chosen the Rune Warrior. From the current situation, Wang Zheng seemed to have taken over the advantage. After a short silence, resounding cheers were heard both on the inside and outside of the arena. Who said that Saruman Snake had already given up? Who said that there was no hope for Saruman Snake? At the most crucial time, the central figure of Saruman Snake, Wang Zheng, had stepped up. Is history going to repeat itself? The Atlanteans might not be able to take this blow. Dear God, ever since the introduction of the Rune Warrior, it has been invincible. Yet Wang Zheng can actually use it and is even better at it. This has really been an eye-opener. Is everything that had just happened real? Most of the audience had no idea what was happening, except that Wang Zheng had practiced using the Rune Warrior. But the core figures in the arena knew very well that the runic matrices had only made their first appearance in this SIG. Although the Rune Warrior had been around for a while, no one had used runic matrices before. This is simply amazing. I've heard that ever since Wang Zheng was discharged from the hospital, he has been sparring with his teammates behind closed doors and they have been using the Rune Warrior. Could he have mastered Atlantis runic matrices in a matter of 3 days? Sijiali could not believe this, even though she was the one who had uttered these words. Jondi Lilac was a contestant of the SIG, as well as a highly skilled master. He knew very well the difficulties of changing routines. He could use the Atlanteans' mecha, but he could not use them very well. As for using the runic matrices, since the appearance of the runes matrices, he had discussed the possibility with General Bolette. Mankind could naturally achieve it. However, these were two very different systems. Crossing systems was as good as changing habits. It was not impossible, but they would not be able to perform well. Looking at Wang Zheng's Golden Rune Warrior, Jondi Lilac felt a deep sense of helplessness. At his level, having a strong opponent was a good thing. This would urge him forward, to catch up and to surpass. Wang Zheng was a good target. But what he was capable of, what he had achieved, was despairing for some people. It was not hard to imagine the impact he had on others since he was someone who made Jondi Lilac feel a sense of despair. The mood at the contestants' seats had always been the calmest. Regardless of how the battle panned out, they would not get so excited and surprised like the others. Regardless of success or failure, they were all contestants. Same level, same stage. This time, looking at the Golden Rune Warrior, everyone had very mixed emotions. Wang Zheng had been very strong since the battle with Gonzalez. Everyone seemed to have seen the limit of Wang Zheng's strength, especially during the battle with Aragorn of the Soulless Battle Team. Everyone had seen Wang Zheng's core. Everyone believed that that was Wang Zheng's limit. However, Wang Zheng has made a breakthrough. Jondi Lilac pointed out everyone's doubts with much difficulty. The arbiters should understand this the most. When Wang Zheng and Aragorn met and when only one person could survive, the person who survived would inherit the accumulated comprehension of the other person. This was why Montero had gone and seen Wang Zheng and told him not to be defeated by anyone. All that Aragorn had strived to achieve in the past had become the foundation for Wang Zheng. The person who survived would be unstoppable. Breakthrough? Asked a confused Sijiali. Wang Zheng's journey thus far, from the qualifiers till now, he has gone through a lot of intense battles. For us, every battle is very precious. All of these battles have been experiences to facilitate his improvement. To what extent he has improved is beyond me now. But one thing for certain is that his spiritual power has now reached B level or above. It should not be doubted that he has advanced to Earth rank level 3 now. Yet his true strength is not limited to this. Before this battle, Jondi Lilac had believed that he would definitely be able to catch up to Wang Zheng in 2 years' time. But now, he knew that he was being naive. This person had never stopped advancing. He simply would not give anyone any opportunity to catch up. The two mechas stopped in the air, as if waiting for the energy protection wall to be readjusted. They both knew that if the defense of the energy protection wall was insufficient, it would not be able to defend against the impacts of their pending attacks. If they were not careful, the entire arena would be destroyed. Everyone had noticed this by now, having been curious as to why both mecha were not moving at all. The energy of the energy protection wall was fluctuating like the waves. The big injection of energy had visually made the energy protection wall seem thicker and even concrete-like. This was not prepared for Sig. This was a super weapon that was made for the sparring of stronger warriors. Little did they know that it would be used here. Your runic matrices are equally as effectively as those of our Atlantis civilization. I have to do my best in order to defeat you. Dina Atlas did not seem flustered at all. He did not seem to be intimidated by Wang Zheng's runic matrices. Only the Atlanteans were not shocked by Wang Zheng's runic matrices. It was obvious that they had absolute faith in their captain. Rightly so. No one understood the runic matrices better than the Atlantean warriors. Wang Zheng's runic matrices were very glamorous and the range was even bigger and more complex. However, was this all there was to the power of the runes? The energy protection wall had been fully charged. It was obvious that both warriors were very confident and at ease. Confidence was obviously crucial in such a battle. Suddenly, the entire arena was filled with the azure blue of water waves. This happened instantly. At the same time, the breaths of everyone seemed to have been captured. The azure blue rune warrior exuded a godlike power. That spiritual power shrouded the entire arena, appearing high and mighty. It was a spiritual power that sent chills down the spine. On the big screens, a spiritual waveband character appeared, Since the start of Sig, someone with a level spiritual power had finally appeared. It was from Atlantis Sea Queen battle team. This was the origin of the Atlanteans' confidence. An A-level power, at this place. This was the dominating level of spiritual power. It seemed that there was only one level between A and B, however, they were actually worlds apart, like heaven and earth. When mankind's spiritual power reached A level, it meant that he would possess the possibility of assaulting heaven rank. Heaven rank, it was like the existence of God. In this era, this was a terror status equivalent to nuclear deterrence. Yet, at only 25 years old, Prince Dina Atlas had already reached A-level spiritual power. The dominating level of the spiritual power compressed Wang Zheng's controlling territory in an instant. One by one, Wang Zheng's spiritual marks that originally covered the entire arena were now slowly being wiped off. The entire arena had now fallen into the hands of Dina Atlas. Wang Zheng did not give in this entire process, however, he had to give in on spiritual power. Although the contest between the runic matrices was based on the understanding of runes, in essence, it was still a contest of spiritual power. Whoever had the bigger fist had the final say. It was definitely the forte of the Atlanteans in terms of spiritual marking and repelling. Almost everyone could see that the original golden ground had been replaced by the azure blue. It had now become Poseidon's world. The force of the azure blue flooded the entire arena. This was an A-level warrior. It was as if the entire world was already under the control of Dina Atlas. The golden power was struggling, but it was constantly being suppressed. The cameras were now pinned on Dina Atlas' face. This Atlantean prince was still as composed as always. His azure blue eyes were brimming with confidence, originating from the immortal majesty of the Atlantis civilization. The Atlanteans would not fall twice at the same place. Even when Wang Zheng was at his most arrogant, Kushawin had remained calm. This was because she knew that the Atlanteans could not afford to be defeated again. It might seem trivial, and this was just a competition, but it was related to the Milky Way Alliance's acknowledgement and evaluation of a country. That video was something that Kushawin silently acknowledged. Otherwise, how could it have aired? She had wanted to put Wang Zheng on the pedestal, high up in the clouds, and then have him suddenly fall, losing everything. Similarly, it was also forcing the Atlanteans into a desperate end. With the entire world watching, if Atlantis were defeated, the video that was aired and the one now would be circulated for a long time. This would weigh down on the young warriors of Atlantis. If they won, then the shadow of defeat would be forgotten very quickly. After all, people would only remember victory. The Atlanteans could not be offered any retreat, only then would they show their true strength. Kushawin had never denied that the Atlanteans possessed the strongest fighting strength in this world, if they were serious about it. A-level power. What did this mean? Everyone in the arena knew very well that the fight was over. The only thing left was for Wang Jung to admit defeat. As long as they were students from a military school and as long as they were from the conventional military schools of the Milky Way Alliance, they knew that as long as a person's spiritual power reached a level, congratulations were in order. They had just become a national treasure. If the person had yet to reach 30, then it was more cause for congratulations because the person would be one of the central figures of the military force. No human in the history of the Milky Way Alliance had ever attained a level before the age of 30. Cross-level victory? Unfortunately, such jokes were useless. Having attained a level, a person's perspective of the universe would be completely different. Wang Jung was already strong enough. So strong that the Atlantean has no choice but to unleash the forbidden power. This was power that mankind feared. However, the Atlanteans had no choice. If they had, they would not have done so. Just a minute ago, all the supporters of the Saruman Snake Battle team were still cheering happily, but now they were all quiet. It was not despair, although there was some helplessness, but it was not disappointment either, it was more of helplessness, and a hint of regret. For the Saruman snake, it was already a miracle that they had come this far. It was already a miracle that they had achieved this. There would always be some powers in this world that could not be surpassed. All was calm at Ares College. Yao Ailun opened his mouth, but he was not that dull to give any encouragement. He understood the principle of a level. He knew that every student at Ares College understood that too. When an A- level spiritual power appeared, everything was over. Saruman Snake's advancement had finally come to an end. Actually, all Dark Horse's advancements had to end one day. Maybe not today, but one day eventually. Jasper sighed helplessly, but because of the suffocating air, even his sigh was silent. He had come to witness miracles and had even bet a large amount on Saruman Snake. Of course, this amount meant nothing to him. However, he still felt some sadness. On the contrary, the mainstream ruling class of the Milky Way Alliance were the rebels. They had hoped for the creation of miracles. Brother Yan, a level. Grabber seemed to want to make a point. Yan Xiaoshu did not show any reaction. What the hell is a level? I have watched pornography though. Grabber and Jasper looked at each other. This. Wang Jung was not at all surprised. This was a level power. It had indeed suppressed his spiritual power completely. Whoever had control of the spatial control of spiritual power would have control of the offensive and control of the runic matrices. Buzzing, the runic matrices appeared at his feet and Dina Atlas disappeared. Bang! Wang Jung's mech flew up at the sound and hit the energy protection wall squarely. He did not even have time to react. As soon as he entered a level, Dina Atlas' control of the runic matrices was as easy as breathing. He did not need to chant any spell to pave the way. The runic matrices were unleashed instantly. In the next second, Wang Jung's rune warrior flew up instantly, but in a swift movement, the azure blue rune warrior appeared and the rune sword swept across. Bang! With absolutely no time to react, the golden rune mech was sent flying. Atlas' left hand extended out and a runic matrix suddenly appeared while spinning. Rumbling, energy cannon. Wang Jung's rune warrior attempted to use the space isle, but he seemed to have forgotten that the place had been surrounded by Dina Atlas' spiritual marks. Instantly, the rune cage imprisoned Wang Jung. This momentary sluggishness had seen the energy cannon blasting at him. The azure blue energy was flowing out instantly, blasting densely at Wang Jung. Heaven and earth shattering blasts were heard all around. The energy protection wall only lasted a few seconds before it was blasted through. Continuous energy was tilting This turning of tides made everyone's hearts feel the impact. Could this be the same result as the two previous matches? Despite their best efforts, the end result was the acceptance of failure? Everyone was now waiting for the final judgment. 3-0, Atlantis advancing to the finals with this victory. However, this announcement was not heard. Wang Jung's rune warrior that was on the second layer of energy protection wall was not destroyed yet. A golden rune shield blocked Dina Atlas attacks. The golden rune warrior disappeared instantly and returned to the center of the field. Atlas frowned slightly. That was strange. He had clearly controlled the entire arena, yet he clearly did not sense Wang Jung's defensive runic matrix. Furthermore, in a situation where he had control of most of the power, it was practically impossible for Wang Zheng to think about fighting for the power of the natural world in this space. Any use of any form of power had to follow the order of prioritization. He had priority rights in this area. Hence, all the usage of runic matrices by Wang Zheng were being suppressed. Even the use of power was a fraction slower. A battle in an enclosed environment such as this was undoubtedly fatal. It was a little painful. The pain from the impact was a rather refreshing thing. He had not felt such pain in a very long time. He understood better what black charcoal meant. This feeling would remind him that he was human and the meaning of his existence. Where there was pain, there was persistence. Primordial Regression Technique 3rd Level Heaven, Original Force Awaken. Golden light was shining from Wang Zheng's body. The indomitable power of the sharp gold. The infinite vitality of wood of the 5 elements. The frozen soul of water of the 5 elements. The indestructible power of earth of the 5 elements. The power of the 5 elements surrounded Wang Zheng's body. Finally finished, it again transformed into a golden light and shrouded the rune warrior. Both Lear and Tang Zheng's eyes contracted violently as if seeing something that was impossible. This was not ability X, this was the ancient martial arts. Internal 5 elements. The source of the power was flowing entirely from Wang Zheng's body. In terms of the confrontation of spiritual power, B level could never confront A level. Hence, it was simply impossible to use Atlantis runic matrices to suppress it. However, Wang Zheng could absorb the forces and unleash them using his own minor 5 elements. This was similar to Lai Xin's flames of the blazing angel. The ultimatum of the ancient martial arts was the discovery of the mysteries of the human body. This was also the ultimate power of the inner universe. This was the realization that Wang Zheng gained when he was training for atomic blasting. When the primordial regression technique reached the 3rd heaven level, everything reached a breakthrough. Using only spiritual power to confront the Atlanteans was insufficient. But the Atlanteans had a fatal flaw, and it was the power of the physical body. While they gained limitless spiritual power, they could never compensate for the flaws of the body. The runic matrices appeared to have freed them from the problem of close-quarters combat. In fact, this was merely fostering strengths and circumventing weaknesses. There was no need to fight with Dina Atlas for the control of spiritual power. Although A level could suppress B level, it was still beyond Atlas' capabilities to completely cut off Wang Zheng's absorption of the force. External runic matrix versus internal runic matrix. Dina Atlas' rune warrior was falling. He now felt a strong sense of crisis. Right then, not many people had realized what was happening. They only felt that Wang Zheng had no intention of giving up yet. However, when the cameras were panned on both of them, everyone saw the look of heaviness on Atlas. This was the grimmest expression since the start of the competition. The Atlanteans were finally on the edge of their seats now. However, they still had absolute faith in winning. This was because they believed that Dina Atlas' power could still suppress Wang Zheng. Fire of the 5 elements. In an instant, the rune warrior was burning with the white flames of the blazing angel. The rune warrior charged ahead. Strings of runic matrices appeared. However, the flames of the blazing angel had the strongest effect on the negative effects of the runic matrices. Perhaps only the Holy Light series could rival this. The 2 rune warriors matched up against one another once again. The 2 rune swords blasted together and the runic matrices appeared at the same time. Without a doubt, Dina Atlas had the initiative since he had control of the spiritual power. Except, the weakened and decreased in speed runic matrices were totally useless against Wang Zheng, who possessed the flames of the blazing angel. The only things that Atlas could do were either strengthen himself or increase the output of energy. Energy cannon. Wang Zheng extended his right arm and a runic matrix appeared. Rampage Windwall. Bang! The 2 mecha were blasted apart forcefully. Atlas knew very well now that he needed to keep a distance. With Wang Zheng's physical techniques, if the 2 were too close, it would be a very frightening matter. Some of Wang Zheng's ability X's that needed to be transformed by the spiritual power had been strangled. Hence, Dina Atlas was still in fear. The energy cannon had blasted both of them apart. Strings of runic matrices appeared behind Dina Atlas. Energy cluster run. Techniques were no longer in play. With teleportation being killed off, The energy cannon had completely sealed off the front. Regardless of which direction Wang Zheng would be coming from, he would have to face some violent attacks. Rumble, rumbling, the azure blue was shining brightly. What followed was blasts from all around. Everyone seemed to be seeing a warship launching its attacks. Dina Atlas' choice was undoubtedly correct. Raging energy blasted out, leaving no room to evade. Even the Zeus Shield battleship would be devastated by such a level of energy attacks, let alone a mech. This was the level of power that the strongest warrior could control. It was known as Super Warrior. Only the third layer of the enhanced energy protection wall was still holding strong. This would definitely be enough to hold strong. With such enhancements, the last layer of the energy protection wall was meant to withstand the attacks of a heaven rank warrior. Everyone was only starting to realize that the last layer of the energy protection wall had turned to a shiny, golden hue. This was a technique that he had not wanted to expose, but if he did not use it now, he would not be able to save this arena. Marshall was undoubtedly able to connect with the core power of Aslan. This battle had, time and again, broken his baseline. The problem was Wang Zheng still alive? The effects of the energy blasts were slowly receding. Dina Atlas finally sighed a breath of relief. Mankind always seemed to have some amazing methods. However, those were only reactive responses. As long as he controlled the situation, Wang Zheng could only be the subject of suppression. Everyone was holding their breath. At such a level of energy, there was insufficient time for surrender, not to mention the Rune Warrior did not have an energy shield. Even if it had, under such attacks, the mech-level energy shield was only an insignificant organism. Everyone's hearts were beating hard. It appeared that there was nothing. Another Rune Warrior appeared in the battlefield. A swirl-like runic matrix appeared in front of everyone. 5 elements defense. This was not a method that the Atlanteans used, although the principles were the same. However, mankind could control the 5 elements. It was obvious from the history of the development of mankind that in the beginning, mankind thought that the bigger an object, the greater the power it possessed. However, as technology advanced, they came to the realization that the smaller particles contained the theory of the power of the universe. They discovered atoms, neutrons, and antimatter. As mankind itself, they were also composed of such power. The key was profound meaning. This was the power of the 5 elements as provided to Wang Zheng by the primordial regression technique. The Rune Warrior disappeared. It did not teleport but rather flew in a straight line. The flames of the blazing angel were ignited once again. Dina Atlas' figure disappeared. Instantly, Wang Zheng turned around. Accelerated lightning. In this limited distance, regardless of the complexities of Dina Atlas' space corridor, flaws were bound to be exposed. His movements were not Zhongshan's teleportation. There was a time lapse. As long as pressure was piled on him, flaws would appear. It was another matter as soon as it followed Wang Zheng's momentum. The situation had changed into Wang Zheng's Rune Warrior was chasing after an A-level warrior. Someone an A-level warrior could not directly confront, actually existed. In Maniluso, quite a number had been complaining about Jondi Lilic's failure. Yes, this genius, this son of hope, had a lot pinned onto him. In the end, he had fallen in the quarter-finals. It was really embarrassing. However, having witnessed this scene, no one blamed Jondi Lilic any longer. It was not that Jondi Lilic was not strong enough, it was his bad luck. He had met the wrong opponent. Lightning acceleration. Storm acceleration. It did not matter whether it was matrices or ability X's. Wang Zheng could attack as he desired. In terms of mind games, Atlas' long-distance attacks had proven to be useless. When his complete control of the situation did not become an actual victory, the balance started to tilt to the other side. As soon as it became close combat, Atlas would never be able to match up against Wang Zheng. Who in this world could match the physical techniques of the great demon king, Wang Zheng? No, at least not yet. Manalauso had fallen. The Dark Empire had fallen. Arbiter had also fallen. Those who were skilled at physical techniques had all fallen. It was not because they were not strong enough, it was because when faced with a demon, the only option for the opponent was retreat. Until victory presented itself, who would dare to comment? A battle at such a level was already beyond what the average person could predict. Any sort of variance could happen at any time. However, everyone seemed to have seen some hope. This was like the never-ending darkness before dawn, yet a ray of light would suddenly appear. Was this an illusion? Was this a temptation from hell? Or was this the dawn of victory? No one knew. No one present knew. Never underestimate an A-level warrior. After mankind started the battle rankings, no A-level warrior had ever lost to a lower-class warrior. Yes, relative to A-level and above warrior, other warriors were considered lower-class warriors. Only when a warrior reached A-level would he or she be considered a super warrior in the true sense of the meaning. A mature and steady warrior had to possess a good mentality. Although being chased by Wang Zheng, Dina Atlas' mentality was still very calm. This was Wang Zheng's sharpest moment now. Avoiding the brunt was the best option. Although B-level spiritual power was on a totally different level and could not contend against those of A-level, it was more than sufficient to put up a defense. The existence of the flames of the blazing angel had rendered most of Dina Atlas' runic matrices ineffective. He could only make direct attacks, and direct attacks were Wang Zheng's territory. Powerful physical techniques combined with the power of the 5 elements, it was totally awe-inspiring. Just then, the azure blue rune warrior stirred down. Wang Zheng struck mercilessly. Shattered. Illusionary. Dina Atlas appeared a distance away. The mech made a sharp traverse. The runic matrix shone brightly. Partition. Partition. 32 azure blue rune warriors had appeared in the air above the arena. Which one was the genuine body? Which ones were just the afterimages? The Atlanteans were well known for their energy attacks. Those afterimages did not mean that they were harmless. Madaraska, puppet partition. Wang Zheng did not care much for that. His rune warrior charged forward immediately. Bang, 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 bubble bubble. The rune warriors came forth, one after another instantly, interlacing. Bang! Wang Zheng's rune warrior was struck down directly. They were all the real deal? 32 mecha covered the entire sky above the arena, in a tight dragnet. This was the power of the runes of an A-level warrior. They must definitely be illusions. However, Dina Atlas had sufficiently strong spiritual power to support all of them, and he had made attacks that they're practically similar to that of the true self. An A-level warrior's runic matrices not only had the capability to provide interference, it was just as strong in attacks. 32 runic matrices lit up in mid-air. The azure blue color lit the sky. 32 rune seismic cannons were aimed at Wang Zheng. Rumble, rumbling, countless light beams streamed down and covered Wang Zheng instantly. This was the real rhythm that was meant to annihilate. Violent force and intense blows. Under such confined boundary, there was absolutely nowhere to evade. It had to be toughed out. Wang Zheng had wanted to use physical techniques to finish the battle. Dina Atlas' tactics were also very obvious, using Atlantis runic matrices' variability to suppress until the opponent crumbled. Skyrocketing energy beams made everyone tremble in fear. Even Earth-rank warriors would have perished long ago under such attacks. What kind of monster was this? Bang! Among the energy, an icicle-like thing suddenly sprang out and rose towards the sky. Violent chills suddenly enveloped the entire arena and continued to spread. Everything around the arena was beginning to freeze, including energy. Dina Atlas frowned. 32 rune warrior mecha rose to the sky simultaneously. At the same time, strings of icicles seemed to be breaking through the vault of heaven and making chase. The rune warriors struck continuously, but the rune swords could not shatter any of the icicles. Only after using the original force could the icicles be shattered. Almost half the arena was enveloped in the strange frost. In the center of the arena was a giant icicle that was a couple of meters tall. There was also an icy cold runic matrix under Wang Zheng's feet. The violent chills were pouring out from this. In the next second, the frost cleared. The chills also disappeared instantly, along with the runic matrix. The rune sword in Wang Zheng's left hand drew a circle. A fiery white runic matrix appeared. Wang Zheng's every strike of the runic matrices originated from his core strength, pure and mighty, the original force of the 5 elements. As for his right hand, it was spinning and absorbing the power of the frost that was spreading the air earlier. It was suppressing continuously and had formed an azure blue sphere. Suddenly, the rune sword in the left struck. The runic matrix exploded. A blazing red dragon appeared, roaring. Simultaneously, the ice ball in his right hand was thrown out too. Instantly, a rune warrior mech was hit and exploded. Blazing dragon pearl. A fiery dragon that had been formed roared and hovered in the air. The clones that were in close proximity or were hit directly, exploded one after another. The flames of the blazing angel had horrifying strangling effects on both illusionary and spiritual control. Wang Zheng was most skilled with the power of ice and fire. If Dina Atlas had underestimated him, he would be in an unfavorable situation. Dina Atlas obviously did not expect Wang Zheng to be able to do this. It was indeed a little problematic for him. Wang Zheng's ability to use his body with the power of the 5 elements had gone beyond his imagination. The earlier attacks meant that the quantitative attacks were useless. It needed to reach a certain energy level. It was then that warnings started to sound. The power of Wang Zheng's blazing dragon was meant mainly to destroy the avatars. Dina Atlas did not pay much attention to the alerts. However, the marks made by the collision of the fire dragon and the power of the ice, was this trajectory? Compound powers. This was Wang Zheng's true killer move. The fire dragon had swallowed the ice ball by now. There was still a dozen avatars left, but that was not important now. Be an above-level spiritual power and the power of the 3rd level of heaven of the primordial regression technique provided a qualitative upgrade for Wang Zheng. His understanding and control of his power had improved by leaps and bounds. A ray of white light exploded instantly. Bang! People lost their sense of hearing. A number of people were shaken by the blast, buzzing. A white mushroom cloud exploded in the center of the arena. Perhaps those who were not in the arena were lucky. They could only see a sea of white all around. It was reported that there were some problems with the videos. Everything was blurry. They could only see white images. The violent power caused everyone to lose the use of their 5 senses. Quite a number of agents had moved forward in front of Kashawin and the rest. They were all people with special skills. All emergency defenses had been activated too. The energy protection wall expanded like bubbles and burst. However, the last layer of the energy protection wall was still holding strong, blocking off the shock of the power ripples. After a long while, the people began to recover from their senses. The entire arena had been leveled to the ground. This was compound power. This had always been Wang Zheng's killer move. But having reached this far, it had become more powerful. Wang Zheng had even diverted Dina Atlas' attention, making him think that he was only intending to destroy the avatars. After all, with Atlas' control of his spiritual power, if he had been prepared, he would be more than capable of breaking the power of Wang Zheng's compound powers. Atlas mech had already disappeared. Could it have been destroyed in the blast? It was definitely a possibility with such a level of energy. The entire arena was silent. Was Wang Zheng more skillful in the end? Was the great demon turning the tides? It was not impossible to make use of this violent power to achieve victory over the Sea Queen battle team. What about the team battle? Judging from the level of power displayed earlier, victory was no longer a numbers game. After defeating the soulless battle team, Wang Zheng had already undergone a transformation. He had become even more unstoppable. In the stands, Kashawin could no longer speak. Everyone had been wavered. Could the Sea Queen battle team stop Wang Zheng? From the initial impossibility to the current increased possibility of 50%, to maybe an even greater possibility. Saruman Snake's hope was coming. Even an A- level warrior was unable to stop them? The camera was now on Wang Zheng. He appeared calm. Time seemed to have stopped. The signals from all over the world were recovering one after another. Seeing Wang Zheng again in the horrifying sight of the arena, everyone was waiting for the outcome. Jiali was about to announce Wang Zheng's victory when Jondi Lilac waved his hands. A buzzing sound was heard in the space and an azure blue runic matrix appeared. A space entrance opened. Dina Atlas walked out from within. Motrada Udias, space refuge. Dina Atlas was not hurt in the least. The earlier attacks and blasts had not hit him at all. He had entered the space refuge at the most crucial time. This was really miraculous. Dina Atlas' expression did not look good. His handsome face was somewhat pale. Opening a runic matrix of such magnitude was a great strain to his energy, especially at such a short time frame. If he had not been careful, it would have been disastrous. Wang Jung had really understood the essence of the runic matrix. He could even interpret the runic matrices according to his understanding. Maybe his control of the routines and depth of the runic matrices were not comparable to that of Dina Atlas, but his application of the power of the 5 elements was unmatchable by the Atlanteans. If he was not careful, he could lose the match, perhaps even his life and the glory of Atlantis. This must not continue. Both of them had displayed powers that were beyond everyone else's. Regardless of top-notch compound powers or space runic matrices, these were powers that ordinary warriors would not even have dared to dream of. This was the greatest SIG. This was truly the level worthy of the semifinals. Every country let out almost similar exclamations. Honestly, they were all rather disappointed after watching the first semifinals. The Sword Shield Rose battle team had completely dominated the Dynasty battle team. Such a level was still passable for the quarterfinals, but it was a little below the standards for the semifinals. The second match, which was initially viewed as having a greater difference in strength between both teams, turned out to be above all expectations. Wang Jung, perhaps, we should move to another location. That way, there will be no scruples, said Dina Atlas suddenly. Wang Jung nodded. The Rune Warriors rose up. Although the last layer of the energy protection wall stood firm, the first and second layers had not recovered. It seemed they had been completely destroyed. The 2 Rune Warriors flew up into the sky. Frankly speaking, looking at the 2 soaring mecha, countless military students were roaring with feelings of rolling in waves and being trampled on. Were they even allowing others a lifeline? When they were still driving mecha that were crawling on the ground, the 2 of them had already started flying. Super Warriors, Super Mecha. What are they going to do? Why are they flying so high? Asked Sijiali. With their control of techniques and expertise, no ordinary levels of attack can harm them. I'm afraid they will need greater levels of attacks. The arena can no longer stop them, said Jondi Lilac as he looked into the sky, filled with god-awe admiration. This was the realm that every super warrior wished to reach, the unrestrained realm, the highest realm of warriors. With the aid of 2 levitating runic matrices, the 2 mecha reached the sky at the same time. It was impossible for Dina Atlas to use long-range energy to finish off Wang Jung. Similarly, it was impossible for Wang Jung to attack Dina Atlas up close. The control of techniques and all-rounded capabilities were not an issue for both. It was about ultimate understanding now. The strongest power realm. The azure blue runic matrices were like water ripples under Atlas' feet, slowing spreading out in ripples, lighting up half the sky. The power of the 5 elements agglomerated around Wang Jung. His entire mech was burning with golden flames. An attack of the highest comprehension. Dina Atlas was singing in the Atlantean language. This was incomprehensible even by the people who had learned the language. There was quite a number of people who were learning foreign languages in Aslan, and it was no big deal to be proficient in the Atlantean language. But this was unlike any language they had heard before. This was the ancient language of Atlantis. It was also the language of the gods. Prohibited law. An energy projection slowly began to appear in the azure blue sky. Like the endless sea, the energy of the space fluctuated violently. Dina Atlas was controlling it. The power of this space was all his. Without a doubt, Dina Atlas was a stronger opponent than Aragorn. If he had met him before Aragorn, Wang Jung would not have stood a chance. But Aragorn had helped Wang Jung achieve the power for this battle. That was the power of the civilization of Atlantis. On the other hand, Wang Jung was from Earth's 3rd civilization, mankind's ancient martial arts civilization. The original force of the 5 elements. Never for a moment had he so clearly comprehended the true meaning of atomic blasting. He understood why his arms would break, but he did not understand the reason why. Mankind itself is the universe. Don't be in a rush to seek the power of the universe. When you have gained control of yourself, you can then be the one with the power of the universe. Thyself is the real self. Whenever Charcoal uttered this nonsensical and unreliable stuff, Wang Jung felt like making fun of him. However, true happiness came the day when the epiphany of it all hit him. Have my eyes gone fuzzy? Why is it that Wang Zheng seems to be enveloped by a universe? Is this an illusion? Ability X is the spiritual reaction of man. It could create a concrete effect. The Atlantean has completely seized control of the external forces. His spiritual power has been completely locked out. This power is not equivalent at all. Once a warrior reached Earth rank, this power could not be hidden. Everyone could feel it. Dina Atlas had complete control of the space. There was no way Wang Zheng could even think about using Ability X now. The compound power that he had used earlier would never come out again. It was a piece of cake for an A- level warrior to cut off spiritual power. The azure blue sea surrounded the sky. Wang Zheng had been forced to a corner. Anyone would feel very small when faced with the vast sea. Perhaps Wang Zheng should not have gone up, but tangled with Atlas on the ground, perhaps he would still stand a chance. Dina Atlas could feel that he had complete control. His opponent had not raised any form or resistance. Even if he had, it would have been useless. He was completely victorious in terms of spiritual power confrontation. However, for some reason, he felt some uneasiness in his heart. The Atlanteans has always been committed to communicating with the universe. They thought that they had done their best. At least mankind was still afar from getting close to them. Hao Lin's eyes penetrated the sky very clearly. An absent-mindedness appeared in the eyes of the young prince. They were even darkened slightly. He then lowered his head. The Atlanteans could not escape destiny after all. Finally, it had appeared. Wang Zheng was totally unfazed by the external pressure. This feeling was very wondrous. He could focus more on himself because of the strong pressure from Dina Atlas. At the moment, the only thing he could depend on was himself. Although Atlas had doubts, it was still very strange. The opponent's magnitude was clearly not sufficient. Even if he possessed the power of the 5 elements and even with the help of the 5 elements, the borrowed power that the body could absorb would still be insufficient to block off the theory of the universe. This was great power. As the power increased, the sea began to billow. In an instant, pressure began to spread out from outside the arena. Thousands of meters away, birds suddenly fell from the sky. A fiery red sun rose up from the billowing sea. At this moment, Atlas' eyes also exploded with frantic light. Power of the ancient runes, rage of Poseidon. It was at this moment that Wang Zheng's eyes also exuded a radiant light. He could only depend on himself at this moment. Atomic blasting. I am the universe. Man is so insignificant and yet also infinite at the same time. Either epiphany or death. In the Rubik's Cube, Charcoal was watching quietly. Bonehead was as silent as usual. To continue or to end? If Wang Zhen died, the Rubik's Cube would disappear. The end of the legacy? Charcoal did not know. That small power of Wang Zheng was suppressed instantly. Time seemed to have slowed. It was completely useless. Fighting the power of nature with the insignificant power of man? Did this make sense? Was this a dream? The primordial regression technique was sh*t. The power of the 5 elements, could this be used against nature? Confronted with the flowing energy, Wang Zheng closed his eyes. When there were no visual distractions, he could see the essence of everything. His rune sword struck. Ripples, this seemingly soft and weak strike cut through the raging waves of power like a knife through butter and charged towards Dina Atlas. Dina Atlas could not move anymore. He could not believe everything that was happening right before his eyes. Wang Zheng's rune warrior was like a meteorite in a torrent. The power of the universe, though violent, did not affect him in the least. In the next instant, Dina Atlas lost his consciousness. The power torrent flowed through the sky. The rolling sounds of thunder were heard in the sky. The 2 mecha lost control and fell to the ground at the same time. This was the first time Wang Zheng had ventured into this realm, mastering the power of the universe and cutting off Dina Atlas' attacks. Actually, it had not been destroyed, just cut off. Dina Atlas had exposed the biggest problem that the Atlanteans had. When the power consumed themselves, their bodies could not hold on. The evolution of the Mayans was wrong. The evolution of the Atlanteans was also wrong. Hence, the Atlanteans could not move forward. Therefore, the Atlanteans bowed their heads in front of the Milky Way Alliance. The royal family of the Atlanteans knew they were different from the Mayans. Therefore, they could not continue to evolve. They were searching for answers, and they had found the answers. To be one with the universe was not to make use of the driving force to drive the power of nature, because they would eventually consume themselves. They needed to develop themselves as the universe. But they could not achieve this. Hundreds of years ago, there was a man who had achieved this. Hence, the Atlanteans submitted to him, hoping that the man would lead them onward. But the man did not. He said that there would be another and that the Atlanteans should wait. To wait for the appearance of the man that would change their destinies. Now, that man had appeared. Bang! The two mecha fell onto the ground almost at the same moment. The difference was that Atlas was flat on his belly, while Wang Zheng was squatting. There was complete silence both on the inside and outside of the Knights of Light arena. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the two warriors. Finally, Wang Zheng's rune warrior stood up slowly, staring at his opponent. Wang Zheng understood that the reason why he could be so strong today was because of the numerous battles that he had gone through. Crumble, Dina Atlas rune warrior looked like it had been weathered and was shattering into pieces. The emergency response team rushed in immediately. Dina Atlas was no ordinary person. He was a member of the royal family of Atlantis. It was said that it was a bloodline heritage, and a death meant one bloodline lesser. Although there were no rules on the battlefield, if he really died in the battlefield, it would still be a serious matter. Finally, the medical personnel gave an OK sign and carried Atlas away immediately. As if he had woken up suddenly, Wang Zheng's face looked extraordinarily pale as well, as if he had just been fished out from the water. Everyone was staring at Wang Zheng's face. His mech was obviously not in good condition either, but mecha could be easily replaced. He could change as many as he needed. What about he himself? Wang Zheng won, unbelievably defeating the insufferably arrogant Prince of Atlantis. However, this battle was not over yet. In the competitors' seats, the Sea Queen battle team still had 5 Atlantean warriors who were in full strength. As for Saruman Snake, they had no one. Lai Xin and Mu Zhen's conditions could only make them spectators. Snow Li, Earth rank 1. Even if she had the confidence, in such a team battle, she would only be a burden. Looking at Wang Zheng's face, he looked like a man who was drowning. Although he had won against Dina Atlas, his own losses were also unimaginable. He could no longer lift his right arm. Although it had been healed and he had been using his left hand to hold the sword during battle all this while, the continuous confrontations were still a great burden to his body. The medical personnel finally seemed to come to realize this problem too and helped him up. There would be half an hour of rest before going into the team battle. However, half an hour of rest for a warrior that had just undergone a fierce battle was clearly insufficient. Snow Li helped Wang Zheng down. The doctor administered some emergency treatment. Captain Wang Zheng, given your current physical condition, it's better that you give up the next battle, said the doctor. He was only carrying out his duties as a doctor. Every indicator revealed that Wang Zheng's body was extremely weak. Wang Zheng smiled. The smile made the doctor feel rather awkward. Everyone was battling with their lives. How could he just withdraw because his body was weak? Help me recover a little. Wang Zheng did not say much else. He needed some nutrition injections. Half an hour was also a much-needed rest. Snow Li stood quietly, watching the doctor and nurses working busily. Let me join you for the team battle. Wang Zheng smiled. I will lead everyone to the finals. Let me be a little willful for this battle. Snow Li held back what she wanted to say. She knew that Wang Zheng was not being willful, but when facing the agile Atlanteans, not only could she not contribute as a battling power, she could even be a hindrance to the battle. The limitations of the arena could prevent Wang Zheng from displaying his full potential. We will fight with you till the end, Captain, said a determined Snow Li. Wang Zheng laughed, but it affected the wounds, making him clench his teeth. Snow, smile a little. A smile could increase strength. You look better when you smile. Snow Li was a little taken aback. She could not help but laugh. You still have the mood for that at a time like this. Haha, I'm very happy. Really, very happy. I'm even starting to forget why I'm continuing to fight battle after battle. But every battle makes me feel my existence. Aragorn and Dina Atlas were great opponents, said Wang Zheng. Only those that had been through those situations would understand his sorrow. Their battles had even surpassed life. It was definitely not about the victories that people believed to be. Snowleaf forced herself to maintain her smile. If Wang Jung liked to see her smile, she would smile more in the future. She was willing to do anything for the person in front of her. Captain Wang Jung, although I'm a supporter of the Sword Shield Rose battle team, you are one of the greatest warriors that I have seen, said the doctor. The people around him also nodded. The looks in their eyes were of respect and admiration. It was him who had created miracle after miracle. He had never once given up. There was a riot of noise both on the inside and outside of the arena. Everyone had a sort of crazy impulse. This was not the end, there was still hope. Wang Jung, the Demon King who could accomplish anything. As long as he was still alive, victory was a possibility. On the other hand, back on Earth, Moon, and Mars, the various military schools had already transformed into seas of joy. Defeating the Prince of Atlantis, even if he were to lose this match, it was still a victorious defeat. After all, this was not Wang Jung's problem. The collective strength of the Atlanteans was very clear. Of course, the rest of the members of Saruman's snake had also done their best. Whether it was Lai Xin or Mu Zhen, they had both demonstrated their styles. After the baptism of this Sig, they would definitely become even stronger. There was a chasm between the quality of the warriors of the solar system. Compared to Wang and the rest, their difference was too huge. This was because the rest of the warriors could not experience the kinds of battles that they had. Warriors needed to be tempered in battle in order to grow. After experiencing such a stage, these people would surely become the hope and leaders of the renaissance of the solar system. Hence, it was not necessary to be disappointed even if they were to taste failure. Let us enjoy the battle now. Today is the pride of our solar system, the glory of our solar system. Let us cheer for Wang Jung. This is the warrior that is representing our solar system, a real man. Wang Jung has defeated the Prince of Atlantis. Unbelievable. This is the first time in history that an A-level warrior had lost as such. It was even an Atlantean. Wang Jung has defeated the Atlanteans once again. History has repeated itself again. A miracle has been created. Wang Jung's victory has great significance for the solar system. Regardless of time, they would never give up, they would never stop. We have not seen such demeanor from the solar system for a long time. The solar system was not the only ones paying attention. Various countries were also paying attention. Maybe what happened in the past was no big deal. It was just some achievements by the youngsters. Some might even stand out from everyone, but they would eventually fade away. But when they came to the SIG, they were no longer in the Youth Academy X, nor was this IG. This was a path to becoming a mature warrior. Now, whatever they had achieved in the past would not disappear. The big screens were showing the video collage of Wang Jung once again. Even after viewing them a million times, it could still excite the people. This was not accidental. This would last for a long time. John D. Lilac was infinitely emotional. Today, right here, we might just witness a miracle that has never been witnessed before. We've just heard news that Wang Jung is receiving some emergency treatment for his injuries. He has been confirmed to be taking part in the team battle. CG Ali provided the latest updates. Instantly, it lit the excitement of everyone, lit the hearts of everyone as well. Could you imagine, a youth from Earth, an unknown youngster from the Ares College, today, right here, at the home ground of the mighty empire of Aslan, winning the cheers from the world. Right now, Wang Jung was not only representing himself. The entire world was looking at him. What they saw was Earth, the place that was once the origin of human civilization, but had long been forgotten since. It only existed as a fossil that was occasionally mentioned in the textbooks. As the first and second layer of the defense system has encountered some issues, the battle might be delayed for another half an hour. We hereby send our most sincere apologies, said CG Ali after she received the latest news. The destruction brought about by Atlas and Wang Jung's earlier battle was rather thorough. For the safety of everyone, the defense system needed to be completely restored. Otherwise, the results might be dire for everyone. More than a dozen personnel had already entered the arena to make the adjustments. Of course, the arena need not be restored, and could not. Those who had very confidently said that it would not be damaged had nothing to say. An additional half an hour was definitely good news for Wang Zheng. He fell asleep while receiving the drip. Sleep was the best medicine for recovery. The ability to sleep was also a capability. Ever since the end of the match, Howlin Atlas seemed to be drowned in deep thoughts until Kashawin's voice awakened him. The VIPs obviously would not stay around to wait during the resting time. They had their own resting rooms. Kashawin was very good at controlling her emotions and mentality. Wang Zheng's victory was completely beyond her prediction. Once again, it had overthrown her judgment. Honestly, Kashawin had never met with such an embarrassing situation. She still remembered how Wang Zheng looked the first time she saw him on Earth. That young and inexperienced youth. The guy had undergone many changes after all these years. The only thing that had stayed constant was the determination in his eyes. It seemed like it had never changed at all. Aina was not naive enough to press Kashawin because of this victory. She knew that the battle was not over yet. Just as Kashawin had said, advancing forward would only make it even tougher for himself. With Wang Zheng's current condition, how could he face 5 Atlantean warriors? The weakest spiritual power among them was still a mid-sea level. The other 4 were above sea level, and all in tip-top condition. Furthermore, the Sea Queen battle team had already formulated their strategies for the team battle. With the combined runic matrices, it was unthinkable how Wang Zheng would be able to deal with this. Maybe it would not matter to others, but Aina knew that Wang Zheng would definitely continue on. Having come so far, Wang Zheng was no longer doing this just for her, but for those who had fought alongside him, for those that believed in him. Zhang Shan, Achilles, but Aina was not the least bit jealous. Mu Sen and Bolette began chatting. Perhaps because of Wang Zheng, or maybe because of the styles of the battle, they hit it off very well. Such events were actually opportunities for the various countries to connect and seek alliances, and strengthen their relationships. Mu Sen understood all too well that Titan Star needed alliances and strong support. If they could form an alliance with Manalasuo, it would undoubtedly be an advantage for the development of Tita Star. Manalasuo's military development was second only to Aslan and Arbiters. The accumulation of the mechanics was especially suitable for Tita Star. It was very important to achieve a mutual understanding. After watching Mugen's battle, Bolette became very interested in Tita Star. What he saw was not just Mugen, but the great number of giant militants. If they were properly trained and adequately equipped, and with the battle spirit of the Tita giants and the beliefs of the primal man, they would definitely be a very frightening force. As for economic benefits, possessing a super-gravity mine was not an issue at all. Hence, the development of the Tita Star was a natural progression. To be able to have an in-depth collaboration was no doubt a good thing for Manalasuo. In a short 30 minutes or so, Mu Sen and Bolette chatted happily. Both parties had made arrangements for an in-depth negotiation. When that happened, the various teams would definitely be involved. This fellow Wang Zheng, he kind of grew under my observation. It is hard to believe that he had come this far, said Bolette with the deep sentiment. When Wang Zheng stood up, this old man felt a passion that he had not felt for a long time. Wang Zheng will continue on. Kiki, Elder Mu Sen, how high is the possibility of him winning the team battle? Asked a smiling Bolette suddenly. 100%, said Mu Senator, their eyes locked. Then they both broke into a smile. Bolette had an even clearer judgment in his heart. I heard that Wang Zheng and Tita Star have a very special relationship. Is this just a run-out? Although I have known General Bolette for a short time, I feel that we should have met earlier. I feel that we will become very good friends. Wang Zheng and Tita Star do indeed have a very special relationship. We Titans trust him, said Mu. Senator Bolette nodded. To have said that they trusted him, he had completely understood him. Wang Zheng was an interesting young fellow. If he could overcome this, perhaps he should proactively do something. Although time passed very slowly, the audiences both on the inside and outside the arena were not anxious. Honestly, they even secretly wished that time would pass even slower so that Wang Zheng would have more time to recover. However, the maintenance crew had finished restoring the energy system. The new energy protection wall had been raised. This meant that the team battle could start any time. Under the leadership of Under Lucia, the 5 Atlantean warriors had begun to get acquainted with the training of the mecha. They had witnessed the defeat of their captain. Now, they had to hold fast the last defense of Atlantis. There were no signs of relaxation on Lucia's face. It was useless, whether it was 5 against 1 or 5 against 2. Wang Zheng's realm and understanding was beyond them. Their only chance was his weak condition. Wang Zheng should not be able to display those extraordinary powers. The Atlanteans had clearly assessed the situation. If Wang Zheng could still battle well under such conditions, they would have to accept their fate. However, from all judgments, this was impossible. So as soon as the battle began, they would need to suppress him completely. They could not give Wang Zheng any room to breathe. They needed to press on to the finish line without any let-up. Everyone in the arena was prepared. Everywhere else in the Milky Way Alliance, everyone was sitting in front of the live broadcast. It had reached the highest rating since the start of the SIG. The statistics from Aslan were already out. The viewership had doubled since the first battle of the first semifinals. It was beyond imagination. It was beyond imagination that the viewership had continued to climb since the first match. Wang Zheng appeared. Alone, he walked into the mech, a new rune warrior. If nothing changes, Wang Zheng is planning to fight the 5 warriors all by himself, said Sijiali. Before the start of the SIG, if someone had told her that a human from Earth wanted to challenge the Atlantean team alone in the semifinals, either that person was mad, or the world was crazy. However, at this moment, no one felt strange or was surprised. No one could do it except Wang Zheng. Regardless of the outcome, he would let go and fight. The audience here and those watching live from all over the world, regardless of whether you are a military student, a warrior, or in any other profession, prepare to be amazed. Let us witness a miracle, said Jondi Lilac. Deep within his heart, he was also hoping that Wang Zheng could create this miracle. The warriors from both sides are taking to the stage. The team battle of the second semifinals of the SIG is about to begin. Representing Atlantis Sea Queen battle team are Under Lucia, Moria, Helen Luck, Papil Sagan Santander. Representing Saruman Snake is Captain Wang Zheng. Jondi Lilac stopped for a moment. Just as everyone has seen, because of the lineup issues, according to the rules, they are not allowed to inject new team members, so Saruman Snake is starting the last battle with Wang Zheng alone. A 1 against 5 situation had appeared in a formal team battle in the SIG. Everyone had gone crazy. The cheers were resounding. This sort of encouragement had transcended beyond reason. Almost 80% of the people were rooting for Saruman Snake. Of course, 20% of the people were still supporting the Sea Queen battle team. The great and glorious Atlantean team would not lose to a human from Earth. The cameras were now on the members of the Sea Queen battle team. The Atlanteans were no longer calm. There was a look of determination on everyone's faces. Although Wang Zheng was alone and although he was carrying injuries all over, they could not let their guards down. They had already come this far, they needed to strike their opponent with the strongest blow. Right now, the one who truly had no way out was the Atlanteans. Once again, Wang Zheng had brought the Atlanteans to the edge of the cliff. Jasper, Gabra, and Laurel had very unusual relationships with Wang Zheng. They could be considered familiar strangers. In fact, there was not much empathy. However, this time, they felt that power here. Being around someone like him, all things considered, they would definitely not be lonely. Brother Yan, does Big Brother have the confidence? Jasper felt that he was no different from an elementary school kid. He had lost all his sense of judgment. He could feel the tsunami of sounds from both inside and outside the arena. Honestly, he would have been paralyzed the moment he stepped up there. What kind of will and determination would it require? Yan Xiaoshu was focused on the arena. Looking at the rune warrior, he knew that Wang Zheng felt very blessed now. In the yesteryears, when they both laid by the river, drinking beer and errant, had he realized his dreams? Perhaps it was still ongoing, but the journey was the most blessed. This was the stage that Wang Zheng yearned for. It was victory simply by being here. He did not answer because the battle had begun amidst the loud cheers. No one had anticipated that Wang Zheng's rune warrior would make the first move. Although, after a short treatment and rest, it was obvious that Wang Zheng's spiritual waves were not very stable. He needed to make the preemptive strike first. He would have to use his state as an advantage and dispose of his opponents one by one with the highest efficiency. As soon as Wang Zheng started his charge, Two rune warriors rushes forward, creating intense collision. The lights shone brightly. A string of runic matrices shrouded the mecha of the Atlanteans. Two vanguards charged head-on. The other three backups used their runic matrices, attacking and interfering. If it had been a full-strength Wang Zheng, it would have been useless. However, given his current condition, Wang Zheng could only evade. Wang Zheng's spiritual power exploded. With sea level and above spiritual powers, he could not put any pressure on the five Atlanteans, except his understanding was much higher. Bang, 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 bubble bubble. Andalusia and Papisag were leading the charge. The two rune warriors continuously interchanged their positions, taking turns blocking Wang Zheng's fierce attacks. Only in the battlefield did they understand the horror of Wang Zheng's pressure. It seemed that this guy could fall any time, yet they could not defeat him easily. Andalusia understood this as soon as they met, so he quickly adjusted the battle strategies. Change positions. Moira, Helen Luck. Suddenly, a space isle switched over. The two rune warriors behind came in to replace them, and Andalusia and Papisag backed off. Tamira, warrior of holy light. Soilas, quadruple thunder. Porasta, blessings of Ares. Hamil, space isle. Moro Mons, imprisonment cage. Calamuso, stiff mire. Bodalius, holy prayer. The two that were substituted immediately opened up all their runic matrices and blessed themselves. At the same time, they prepared the seismic energy cannon to provide backup whenever necessary. Andalusia was the vice captain. His strategy was very clear. Wang Zheng was a spent force now. He could not afford to let the battle drag on. But he was also very certain that Wang Zheng's struggling strike would still be very dangerous. Perishing together was a possibility. Hence, he chose the most reliable method: gradation depletion. Exchange places. Papisag, Santander, said Andalusia in a low voice. Everyone, remember, don't attack rashly. Gradation depletion. His physical strength and spiritual power cannot hold out for too long. Maintain a good formation in space isle. Don't take on the attacks directly. Enhance the usage of Karamso. Everyone was dumbfounded. They were amazed by the tactics of the Atlanteans. They were trying to cage Wang Zheng alive. This was a classic spider web tactic. The five rune warriors had actually given up their advantage. They did not seem to have the intention to finish off Wang Zheng. Instead, they were going to outlast him by using the protracted runic matrices to continuously deplete Wang Zheng. They were trying to completely exhaust Wang Zheng. Every charge made by Wang Zheng was met with the sieges of two rune warriors. When the Atlanteans decided to defend, with Wang Zheng's current state, a forceful breakthrough would be very difficult. Besides, it was not difficult to see that Wang Zheng might not be able to use his compound power, let alone his lethal atomic blasting power. It was already amazing that he could maintain such spiritual power and energy. The miracle was slipping away from Wang Zheng and Saruman's snake, with him facing five Atlantean warriors who were waiting for him to tire himself out. Jondi Lilac could not help but sigh. The composure of the Atlanteans has decided the final outcome. If they had used their numerical advantage to suppress Wang Zheng, then Wang Zheng would definitely have gone all out and fought it out with them, and he could have very certainly created a miracle. However, the Atlanteans had chosen to adopt a depletion tactic, slowly dragging Wang Zheng into the abyss of defeat. Sijiali felt it too. In fact, the entire audience in the arena and those who were watching the live broadcast could all see it too. Could you imagine this? Five warriors who had sea level and above spiritual power facing off with Wang Zheng. Without a doubt, this was the most reliable tactic. However, everyone was feeling a sense of haplessness. Bang, once again interchanging. Wang Zheng managed to evade a seismic energy cannon but was targeted by Papisag's sword. While he managed to defend against it with his rune shield, Wang Zheng could not evade Andalusia's kick. Bang, the five Atlantean warriors did not give chase. Under Andalusia's instructions, they formed a five-ring formation. Mandala Broadus Conide, group seismic energy cannon. Boom, boom, boom. The runic matrix was aimed directly at Wang Zheng's rune warrior. Like perilous waves, the frantic energy blasted at Wang Zheng. The sky was covered in blue energy beams, completely blocking Wang Zheng's path. A golden runic matrix appeared. His lack of physical strength was more serious than he had imagined. The short rest had brought even more tiredness. His body's reaction time and use of his spiritual power were a beat slower. There was insufficient time to evade. The raging energy blasted out. Rumbling, the first layer of the energy protection wall was busted. Wang Zheng's rune warrior was slammed straight into the second layer of the energy protection wall before stopping. After a round of seismic energy cannon had finished, the breathing of the 5 Atlantean warriors had also become shorter and more rapid. The tactic had been successful. The energy ripples began to disperse slowly. The rune warrior shrunk at the corner. But Wang Zheng stood up still. Except he had not managed to block all the runic matrices. His right hand could not take it. The cast on the right arm of the rune warrior was already broken. Wang Zheng could no longer feel the pain. He could no longer move his right arm. With only one arm left, the rune warrior slowly moved towards the arena. The sound of crackling dominated the entire arena. All of a sudden, the scene looked rather desolate. The Atlanteans had no intention of giving Wang Zheng any chance. If Wang Zheng would not surrender, they would not go easy on him. The Sea Queen battle team was in battle mode with great strength and calm tactics. They would not give Wang Zheng any chance at all. Atlantis Sea Queen battle team was the end of the line for Saruman Snake. Everyone felt a sense of haplessness at this very moment. Was this the end of the road for a hero? If these 5 people had met Wang Zheng when he was at his full potential, they would definitely not be his match. Even if it was 5 against 1, they would still be trashed. This was a man that could defeat an A-level warrior. What a pity. The overall strength of Saruman Snake has dragged Wang Zheng down after all. Honestly, if a group was selected from the traditional powerful nations and they were paired up with Wang Zheng, he would be invincible. Jondi Lilac lamented. Regardless of whether it was Arbiter, Manalasuo, the Dark Empire, Lea Sphinx, the Hail Cloud Alliance, or whoever else, Wang Zheng would definitely not be so desolate. Jondi Lilac probably spoke the thoughts of most people. From the highlights, Wang Zheng was mostly battling alone. No further proof of Wang Zheng's strength was necessary by the mere fact that he was facing an almost impossible mission alone. He had achieved the ultimatum of what any captain could. Off stage, Mu Jin, Lai Xin, and Snow Li bowed their heads. What Jondi Lilac had said was true. Mu Jin clenched his fists tightly. He had represented countless of giants to be here to help Ada. But in the end, he was still a burden and could not do anything. It was dead silent both on the inside and outside of the Knights of Light arena. They had expectations, but no one blamed Wang Zheng for not winning, because he could persist till now. Meanwhile, at Ares College, tears were flowing down from countless people. Jondi Lilac's words struck a chord in their hearts. The decline of Earth, their weakness. Was there no one else on this Earth? They could only watch Wang Zheng battle alone. They had placed all their hopes on Wang Zheng. But Wang Zheng was but one person. He had his times of helplessness too. They looked at the magnificent Atlantean runic matrices shining brightly. Then they looked at Wang Zheng moving forward, alone. He was still moving forward, even though death was just ahead of him. The golden runic matrix at the feet of Wang Zheng suddenly spread out throughout the arena. Hamil, Space Isle. The 5 Atlantean warriors were on high alert. Wang Zheng's space isle covered the entire space. They could not determine his movements. But they knew that Wang Zheng was already a spent force. This was Wang Zheng's final struggle. Just as Lucia has predicted, Wang Zheng could no longer use his compound power. It was impossible for him to try to use physical techniques to take down 5 Atlantean warriors. For the glory of Atlantis, roar, roar, the spiritual powers of the 5 suddenly burst. And their spiritual powers did not conflict with each other. Instead, they formed a web that enveloped the entire arena. Regardless which direction Wang Zheng would appear, they would perceive it immediately. Step by step, a suffocating pressure spread from that broken mech. Lucia and the other 4 also felt the unseen pressure. Involuntarily, the suffocating power of Wang Zheng appeared in their minds. Defense was all they could think about. Defense. Must defend. The rune warrior disappeared. Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? In the center. Suddenly all five reacted. Wang Zheng was moving to their center. Was he trying to be someone's cat's paw? With their tacit understanding from long-term combat training, combined with the spiritual resonance of the Atlanteans, no words were required. They reacted in an instant. Wang Zheng appeared. The 5 rune swords, burning with the fiercest original force, struck down simultaneously on the spot that Wang Zheng landed. Time seemed to have stopped at this moment. Was this Wang Zheng's final choice? Seeking death? Everyone's expressions seemed to have been frozen at this moment. For some reason, Lear felt a sense of loss. Wang Zheng was dying, but not by his hand. There would be no one else to bother him anymore, but he felt somewhat upset. But upset was one thing, it was better that he died. Wang Zheng's rune warrior appeared. 1 arm, 1 rune sword, no matter what, he could not defend against 5 swords. Maybe he could stop one. But Wang Zheng did everything. He just watched the 5 swords strike down. An unknown number of people closed their eyes, not having the heart to watch this scene. Did he have to be struck down by these swords? It was dead silent in the arena. The 5 rune swords struck down squarely on the rune warrior, but there was no sound of explosion. There was golden lightning on the surface of the rune warrior. These electric lights followed the 5 rune swords and at the same time enveloped the mecha of the 5 Atlantean warriors. An enormous spiritual power appeared in the air. Suddenly, dark clouds covered the sky and darkened the sky. Extremely powerful wood element. The expressions on the faces of Andalusia and the rest changed. Their powers were slipping away very rapidly. Wang Zheng was absorbing their power. The wood element of the 5 elements, devourment. This was Lear and Luo Fei's killer move. Lear wanted to kill himself now. If he had known that Wang Zheng would learn it, he would rather die than use it. Andalusia and the rest did not panic. At a time like this, the Atlanteans would go all out too. Spiritual powers flowed out violently. Bolts of lightning shrouded Wang Zheng's rune warrior. Wang Zheng's entire body was exuding electric lights. Everyone seemed to have seen this before. Aragorn. Among Wang Zheng's 5 elements, other than fire and ice, it was wood. This was his last base card. Salute to Aragorn, King of Thunder. Retreat, roared Andalusia. Their spiritual powers blasted at Wang Zheng, attempting to shake off from him. At this moment, 5 thunderballs had already enveloped the 5 rune warriors. Torrential rain started to pour. It was too late. Wang Zheng's feet shone brightly. The left hand, the only one that could move, flung violently and countless golden thunderballs blasted out. Rumble, rumbling, the golden balls collided and shot violently, instantly blasting towards the 5 rune warriors. In the air, a golden light struck down directly. Suddenly, the golden balls exploded into countless golden lights, buzzing. An energy shock ripple swept towards them with great strength and vigor. Bang! Thunder-like sounds were heard in the sky. On the ground, the 6 rune warriors stood still. Their spiritual powers had all disappeared and they could not feel any ripples from the original sources. The sky reverted to normalcy and looked clearer. The entire world was silent. Silently waiting, all 6 rune warriors were in shreds and patches, as if they would crumble in the wind. Suddenly, the rune warrior in the middle began to shake a little, tottering. Wang Zheng was finally falling. Yan Shaosu's mind went blank. Tears could not help but flow down from the fat guy's face. But brother, it was not a loss to have come this far. Achilles hailed a deep sigh and closed his eyes. This was enough, Captain. It was enough to have come this far. Kushawin could not smile. She knew this would happen. Except she had caused this herself. There was a time, when she was younger, where she had hoped for a man that would fight for her like this. But the man gave up. Now, she had done the same thing. Life was not a bed of roses. She took a look at her tearful daughter. This lass. Perhaps she had also fallen for Wang Zheng for some time now. But Weiyan, even if you could, Aina could never. She was the future of the Aslan Empire. A queen could never be happy. Because happiness meant weakness. Growling, growling, shing. Everyone was stunned. The rune sword was dug into the ground, supporting the tottering rune warrior. Wang Zheng had not fallen. At this same time, the 5 Atlantean rune warriors fell one after another. The entire world seemed to have frozen at this moment in time. Everyone's hearts were beating very rapidly, completely uncontrollable. It was as if they would jump out of their chests. Could this be real? The Sea Queen battle team has lost consciousness. Saruman Snake wins. This was the voice of General Marshall. The general's voice sounded somewhat emotional. He did not think that he could witness such a battle in his lifetime. Did this guy know not what despair meant? No one reacted even after a long time. Dear, slap me. Did I hear wrongly? I think I heard something. Who won? Is the outcome out? Do you dare to open your eyes and speak? No, I don't dare to. John D. Lilac was too stunned to speak. C.G. Ollie, who was beside him, stood up. The Saruman Snake battle team wins. Wang Zheng has won. In the next second, the entire audience in the arena stood up. Thunderous cheers resounded through the skies. These cheers immediately spread out to the outside of the arena, throughout the entire Aslan, and the entire Milky Way Alliance. Have we won? Have we won? Chen Shu hugged Yao Ailun and could no longer stand up. This fellow was crying like a baby. We've won. Yao Ailun lifted his head up. He would look cooler crying like this. Damn, it is great to live in this era. Wang Zheng, Wang Zheng, Wang Zheng, Wang Zheng, Wang Zheng. It was not known who started shouting first, but at this moment, the only name in the entire Milky Way Alliance was this name. That was a fellow named Wang Zheng. The second match of the semifinals had ended. Saruman Snake had miraculously turned the tides against Atlantis Sea Queen battle team. After 4 years, Atlantis had fallen once again in the semifinals. History had repeated itself. Everyone could not suppress their fanaticism. Such miracles only happened once every few centuries. Wang Zheng had done it, at last. Aina could not help but cry too. She knew that Wang Zheng could do it. Kashawan could not speak. Right now, she felt a sense of hopelessness. Was she wrong? This was the first time she ever doubted herself since she became the Prime Minister. In the stand, the giants led by Rara Darai were roaring towards the sky. They were leaping together. This was a custom of the Titans. They were singing the songs of the Titans, offering a triumphant compliment to their Ada. Have we won? Did the boss win? Yan Xiaoshu closed his eyes. Beside him, Yi Zisu could not help but laugh out. You can open your eyes now. We have won. Great, damn. This damn guy actually won. He's indeed my boss. We are destined to rule the universe. Brother Yan, bring me along. I want to rule the universe as well. Jasper could not describe how he felt now. How the hell had he lived previously? Destiny had been kind to him. The Atlanteans were being carried away. Frankly speaking, the performance of the Rune Warrior was indeed excellent. Had it been any other mech, it would have exploded. Wang Zheng had stepped out as well. He did not seem to have any ounce of strength left, but he seemed to want to say something. The medics on the side did not hesitate to give him the microphone. Suddenly, like magic, the entire arena quieted down. Everyone was looking at Wang Zheng on the big screens. Lilac, you're wrong. Because of them, I was able to persist till now. We are the Saruman Snake battle team. We are a team. We are brothers. The world was drowned by the cheers. John D. Lilac was stunned for a moment. A smile broke on his face. He wanted to join this team as well. Zhang Shan, we are in the finals. Disaster, second demise of the Atlantis Empire. The arrival of the Demon King. Let us witness the greatest miracle in history. The rise of humans, the arrival of the Demon King. Saruman Snake, the best team that grew together, one for all, and all for one. At Ares College, a huge banner was hanging at the entrance of the school, saying, "Let us follow the steps of this man and advance." All the military schools gave the Saruman Snake battle team the highest praise possible. As rational military school researchers, there was no excessive personal worship. It was true that Wang Zheng's personal strength, charisma, and leadership skills were very strong. But due recognition had to be given to Saruman Snake as a team with dreams. The unrestrained Zhang Shan, the composed and rational Achilles, the passionate and motivated Lai Xin, the cool sniper Snow Li, and the brave, vibrant, and faithful Mu Zhen. Everyone had their characteristics. Perhaps their weaknesses were also obvious, but they had the same goal, and they had unbelievable trust and faith in their teammates. This was the key to why Saruman's snake could come this far. One person alone could not reach the peak. What was supporting Wang Zheng was not his personal goal, but the goal of the team, and the support of his entire team. Strategy-wise, although Zhang Shan and the rest could not turn the tide, as team members, they had unbelievably taken 2 wins at the most important battle against the soulless battle team. This helped Wang Zheng conserve some energy and left some hope. Otherwise, if it had dragged into a team battle, Saruman's snake would not have advanced to the semifinals. Neither would the Demon King rise from the ashes in the semifinals. Every bite and every sip were preordained. Although it seemed like luck, it was actually an eventuality. Saruman's snake possessed steadfast faithfulness and determination, and gave their all for this. This sort of team was the most frightening. This was a perfect team that should only exist in ideal fantasies. However, unbelievably, it existed in reality. This was a real team. It was definitely not just strength to be able to obtain the approval of the military experts. They could pick out a million flaws, but they had nothing to say about this kind of team spirit. This was because winning the hearts of people was the most difficult thing to do, especially for military-level misfits. Who said that the 3 suns of the solar system only knew about internal strife and never knew how to work together? Saruman's snake had shown the Milky Way alliance that era had ended. Had the solar system declined to a point of worthlessness? The deep foundation of Earth, the advanced technologies of the Moon, and the important geographic locations and valiant armies of Mars had already paved the way for a strong federation. All that was required was sincere cooperation. The semifinals and the finals were 2 completely different concepts. The moment Saruman's snake entered the finals, they seemed to have broken some form of seal. This was a type of momentum. The solar system was on the rise. This atmosphere even brought about some assault to the militaries of the solar system. The reformists had been eager to introduce change. The performance of Wang Zheng and the rest gave Meng Ao and the rest even more determination and strength to do it. In the change, they were really old. Everyone discussing the victory of Saruman's snake was indeed a heavy blow to the warriors of Atlantis. Although Atlantis had been defeated previously in other battles, they knew very well that they had not wanted to win at all in those instances. However, they really wanted to win this time. They had lost the battle that they wanted to win the most. Surprisingly, Prince Hao Lin gave them comfort. As always, he was not concerned about the outcome of the match, as long as everyone had done their best. Honestly, the Atlantean team was really baffled about how Wang Zheng could be so familiar with the runic matrix or maybe even understood it better than them. He could even infuse it with the powers of the 5 elements. This was something that the Atlanteans could not achieve. This was really unbelievable. However, there was still the finals. Even if they had doubts, they would have to endure till the finals. The finals was what everyone was eagerly anticipating. The Sword Shield Rose battle team was, without a doubt, perfect. They were perfect in every position and they had a very powerful captain. With the combination of good looks and strength, they were impeccable. The Saruman Snake battle team, a different kind of perfection. Perfection of will. A miracle battle team. They would be clashing in the finals. No matter who, everyone wanted to know who would be the champion of SIG. The most important SIG in history. It had brought together the most elite warriors of the various countries of the Milky Way Alliance. It was not hard to imagine the amount of betting involved in this SIG. If it was before the semifinals, the probability of the Sword Shield Rose winning was as high as 90%. But now, almost everyone thought that it was 50-50%, 60-40%, etc. Even if the Sword Shield Rose had any sort of advantage, it was not very huge. Achilles would be back for the finals. The brain of Saruman's snake was back again. Achilles had been discharged. He had already folded the blanket. Finally, he was coming out. Finals. His teammates were waiting for him. Zhang Shan. Damn it. How is it that all of you have recovered and I'm still laying here? How can I be missing from such an occasion? How many girls will be heartbroken because of me? Even though he was still in bed, Zhang Shan would not give his mouth a break. He was finally out from the recuperation can. He was talking non-stop like a floodgate that had been opened, teasing the nurses non-stop, making all of them delighted. Obviously, they had been harassed by someone for the past few days. "It's better that you keep your life safe and be the cheerleader," said Lai Xin. "I heard that the trophy is made of solid gold. It's very valuable. All of you must keep it for me," said Zhang Shan. "Recover well. There's still some time. At least you should be at the arena to watch us win the championship," said Wang Zheng. "I like these words. Even if I have to crawl, I will be there. What I like most is winning lying down." They were still 10 days away from the finals. The Knights of Light Arena was like a construction site, undergoing all sorts of restorations. Furthermore, the building had received some amount of shock and was required to go through some safety checks. Some damaged areas needed to be restored too. The attention level of the SIG in Aslan was not very high initially. After all, everything had been plain sailing for them all these years. Besides, this year's Sword Shield Rose battle team was indeed very strong. However, looking at Saruman Snake, no one was certain now. A small number of people could accept the defeat of Atlantis, but could never lose to a team that was basically formed by people from the solar system. Of course, most of the people from Aslan did not have such narrow thoughts. What they were concerned was the power and strength that they felt from the Saruman Snake battle team. Of course, they wanted their own team to win. Only then could they prove that Aslan was the most invincible in the Milky Way Alliance now. Manalasuo had fallen. Arbiter had fallen, and so had Atlantis. What would it mean if Aslan was the only one left standing firm? No words were needed for this.